Hello students, welcome to KENE'S Educare, a group of KENE solutions. This is part 5 of lesson number 14, Natural Resources. So as you all know that in part 4, we discussed more about soil, how exactly the formation of the soil takes place. We discussed on soil pollution, how exactly soil pollution has been caused. And then after that, we even discussed on soil erosion in short, right? So now we are just left with the 4 biogeological cycles. And as I told you, I'll try to cover 2 cycles each. In one part, I'll try to cover 2 cycles. So that is how what my plan is, because see, we are left with the 4 biogeological cycle, but the first 2 cycles are a bit lengthy and the next 2 cycles are very short. That is oxygen cycle and carbon cycle is very short, right? So along with that, we can do ozone and greenhouse gas, but still we will be left with the exercise, right? So I have to plan it accordingly. So make sure that, see, we have 2 more parts. You can just keep that in mind that we have 2 more parts for the lesson. Please keep on revising, because by the end of this part, I want you all to be clear with each and everything that we have studied so far. Like, you should be able to write the answers in your own words. You should be able to do everything on your own. Okay, so this lesson is not that difficult. All the biogeological cycles are important, and you knowing about this, like air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. Okay, not soil pollution, but you knowing about air, water, and soil is also very important. So please make sure that now, till now, because we have completed with all the three like we studied about air, we studied about water, and then we studied about soil. So you should be able to write a brief note on all the three. Okay, so I'll give you one thing, first, before revising, I want each one of you to write about the formation of soil, how exactly the formation of soil occurs. And here you have to be, what you can say, you have to be true to yourself. Okay, so make sure that you all are going through it and you are writing it properly. Okay, I hope every one of you are writing the answer, formation of soil, and that is how you will be confident enough that you know the answer and you can write it in your words. Okay. I hope you all have started writing and you are able to write as well, because that is the most important thing, right? Okay, so I hope you all are able to like write about the formation of soil, how exactly the rocks break because of the light, like because of the sun's heat, then how water gets accumulated and freezed, right? And because of that, like what happens, it breaks down into small, small pieces. You have to write that, elaborate it, and then write it in brief, right? So I hope you all have done it. Now, I want you all to please revise whatever notes you have taken starting from part 1 to part 4, and then we'll do the revision, and then we'll start with the first biogeological cycle that we have, which is water cycle. Okay? So I hope you all have started revising it. So we started this lesson by discussing on the resources on the earth. So earth as a whole is considered to be a biosphere which has three different spheres. Okay, biosphere has three different spheres. It has lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere, right? So lithosphere includes land, hydrosphere includes water, and lastly we have atmosphere which includes air. Okay, so I want each one of you to please go through this slide. Then we discussed about air, that is atmosphere, in detail, and we even studied on the composition of air, right? So I want each one of you to please go through this slide as well. I hope you all are going through it. After this, we discussed on the role of atmosphere in climate control and the movement of air, that is about the wind. So I want you all to please go through this slide as well. I hope you all are going through this. After this, like after discussing on role of atmosphere in climate control and movement of air, the next thing that we discussed was about rain, and over here we discussed on cloud formation. So I want you all to please go through it quickly. See, the cloud formation part is very important, and whenever, like, if you get a question to write on rain, you will have to explain this cloud formation concept, including evaporation and condensation part. Okay. I hope you all are going through this. Then after this, we discussed on air pollution. So I want you all to please go through this slide, and as I told you in the last class as well, that over here you need to know the causes and the effects of air pollution. Like, you should be knowing the causes as well as the effects. Okay. After this air pollution, we discussed on water, a wonder liquid, and about water pollution. So I want you all to please go through it quickly. After this, we discussed on soil. So we studied about formation of soil, and I want you all to please go through it quickly. Now I hope whatever you wrote in the start about the formation of soil, you found it to be correct. After this formation of soil, we discussed on composition of soil, like what exactly the soil is made up of, and then we discussed on soil pollution. So I want you all to please go through this slide. After this, we discussed on soil erosion and the activity that is on effect of flowing water on topsoil, right? So I want you all to please go through it quickly. I hope every one of you are going through this slide. Okay, now after this, the next thing about after soil erosion, we have the biogeochemical cycles, and over here we have four different types of cycles. We have water cycle, nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, and lastly we have oxygen cycle. Okay, now what exactly these biogeological cycles are, what is happening in all the four cycles? So you will see that the matter and the energy, they get transferred between the biotic and the abiotic components of the biosphere. So whenever the matter and the energy, like there is transfer of matter and energy that takes place between the biotic and abiotic components of the biosphere, we call those cycles as biogeochemical cycles. See, when water cycle is functioning, or when carbon cycle, oxygen cycle is functioning, what exactly is happening? Energy is getting transport, right? So after this, the common biogeochemical cycles are, like we have four different cycles, and we are going to start with the first one, that is the water cycle. So see, when water bodies are heated during the day, now we know because of the sun this mostly occurs, right? So when water bodies are heated during the day, a large amount of water evaporates and rises up. What happens? Large amount of water will evaporate and will rise up. So some water vapor also gets into the atmosphere because of some biological activities, and this biological activities includes transpiration and respiration. What does it includes? Transpiration and respiration. So as the water vapor rises, now you already know, we studied like the cloud formation part. There we had evaporation and condensation, right? So here you can see that water bodies, when they are getting heated up, the water gets evaporated. So that is an evaporation process. Then after evaporation, as the water vapor rises, it is going to cool and get condensed, right? And after getting condensed, it forms tiny droplets of water, and because it is getting condensed, we know this process as condensation. What do we know it as? Condensation. So this appears as clouds, and when tiny droplets of water, they join together, those tiny droplets, after joining, they will form some bigger drops of water, and then they will fall down as rain. Rain, either snow or hail. So some of this water will enter the ground and form groundwater. What will it form? They will enter the ground and will form groundwater. So when water flows from the land to the sea, they are going to carry nutrients and minerals. So they are not flowing without any reason. There is a reason for water flowing from land to the sea, because while doing so, they are going to carry many nutrients and minerals and that will be used up by the marine organisms. Okay. So I hope you all are getting it. We have more explanation on water cycle, but before jumping on to that, I want you all to please go through this part. I hope every one of you have started writing this. See, you have to write what exactly biogeochemical cycles are, which are the 4 different types, and then write about the water cycle. And I hope you all are doing the same. But we are still left with discussing on water cycle, but over here we have evaporation and condensation, which has been explained a bit. So I want you all to please go through it. Okay. Now the next thing that we have is See. So we have seen how the water evaporates from the water bodies and subsequent condensation of the water leads to rain, right? We already saw that in the previous session. But we don't see the seas and oceans drying up. Have you ever seen seas and oceans drying up? You might not have, right? So how is the water returning to this water bodies? And the whole process in which the water is getting evaporated and is getting filled, like it falls on the land and like rain and later flows back into the sea via rain again. We know that as water cycle. So cycle is not as straightforward and simple as like we know that like evaporation will occur, condensation will occur, cloud formation will take place, and that is how we will get it, right? It's not that straightforward. All the water will fall on the land, but it does not immediately go back into the sea directly, because it is going to get seeped into the soil. Then once it gets seeped into the soil, it will become reservoir of fresh water, and then it will find its way towards underground water, and then like it will come to the surface in the spring, mostly in the spring season. Okay, then whenever it comes to on the upper part, what happens, we dig it through wells, tube wells and all, and water has also been used by terrestrial animals and plants for various life processes, because we know that it is one of the most important thing for us, right? Water is like we cannot survive without water. So let us look at another aspect of what happens to water during the water cycle. So as you know that water is capable of dissolving a large number of substances, right? So as water is going to flow through the rock, it contains some soluble minerals which gets dissolved in water, and thus river carry many nutrients from land to the sea, and then it will again be used up by the marine organisms. Okay. I hope you all are writing all the important points from here. I'll even show you how exactly you can draw the water cycle. So this is how you will be drawing the water cycle in nature. As you can see, like uh, the arrows, the water gets accumulated in the ground, then from ground it goes to the surface where it is going to go to the cloud, and then transpiration through respiration, water goes up into the cloud and it falls down in the form of rain, snow and hail, right? So I want you all to draw this water cycle in your book as well. So I hope you all are almost done drawing the water cycle. In the next class, like I'm going to start with the other cycle that we have, that is nitrogen cycle. Okay. So for now, I hope you're clear with water cycle in detail. So after water cycle, we have nitrogen cycle, which I will start in the next class. Okay. Then after nitrogen cycle, we have carbon cycle, I guess. Yeah. So we will be discussing on carbon cycle in detail, and this is how the carbon cycle in nature goes on. And after this carbon cycle, lastly we have oxygen cycle. So we will be discussing on that as well. And after this oxygen cycle, we are left with we will be left with two more topics, that is greenhouse gas and greenhouse gas effect, and then the next thing that we have is the ozone layer. So we will be discussing on this two topics as well, greenhouse gas effect and ozone layer. And after this, we will be discussing on the summary for the whole lesson, natural resources. So make sure that you are well prepared with all the previous parts that we have studied in the whole lesson. Okay. Then after discussing on the summary part, we have few exercise questions to discuss as well. So I'm going to show you the questions one by one, and I want each one of you to please go through it quickly. So altogether we have 6 questions that we will be discussing at the end. Okay, and this is the last question that we will be discussing for the whole lesson. Make sure that you are understanding each and every part of the lesson and you are able to explain it in your own words. Okay, because that is what I expect from each one of you. After going through all the videos, you should be able to write the answers in your own words. You should be able to explain the concepts confidently. Okay, so I'll be ending up with this 6 questions at the end of the lesson, natural resources, and I will be continuing with the rest of the part which has been left, which has been left for the lesson in the next class. Thank you, everyone.